my wife because people taking pictures of us or following us. Like yesterday, we went out dashing, got home, and there was this red truck following us. This morning was there too. So it's been kind of scary for me and for my wife, my kids, and everybody.
And again, this was something that before that point, it was kind of just a normal Tuesday. Is that what it was like?
Yeah, it was a normal Tuesday. It was my day off. I was working with my wife and everything, and all of a sudden, it happened. Like, they were following me, and I pulled them over to see what was going on. And after that, it's been great, nonstop. We're all scared. I can't stop thinking like what's gonna happen to me. What's gonna happen? Like my in-law, my brother-in-law, we didn't even have nothing to do with it, and they still arrested him and everything. They put him in the SWAT car. I didn't know that. They put him in the SWAT car. They even detained my wife and my kids. It was scary.
When did you realize? Obviously, they released you late at night, and we talked to you very briefly, and you got to go home and see. It's kind of a circus out there. It looked like.
Yeah.
Well, what's going through your head when you pull up back home?
Like, what are they doing at the house? They already searched it. I don't know. They got evidence supposedly against me, but I don't know. It was crazy. It was still a lot of police there, a lot of activity. They didn't even let us go into the house. Like 20 minutes later, once they released me, they still had the street blocked off. They didn't even get off the car or nothing.
Jesse, what comes next year?
Well, I think, from our perspective, the first thing that really needs to happen is that the Pima County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Nanos need to clear Carlos's name. They need to make this right. They've falsely arrested an innocent man. They've subjected his family to misery, humiliation, handcuffs, and there's no evidence. This was a wrongful arrest. It was a false arrest. They've cast this shadow of suspicion on Carlos and his family, and now they're living day to day. They're living in fear. And so the first thing that I'd like to see is Sheriff Nanos and the Pima County Sheriff's Office come forward and say, this was a mistake. Carlos is not a person of interest. He is not an investigative lead. We messed up. We need to see some accountability. Obviously, my hope is they're doing the best they can with their investigation. I don't know what the details of what they're doing are in that respect. That's not my department, but they need to clear Carlos, because right now he and his family are going through a nightmare where they look out the window and there are suspicious cars driving past their home. They don't know what's next. And so, it's just clear that whatever mistakes were made, Sheriff Nanos and Pima County need to fess up, and they need to clear Carlos so that his family can begin rebuilding and moving on.
And we asked the sheriff that just this morning, and he said everyone they detained, because there was another person detained last Friday, right? And they said they were cleared to a point, was his wording. Has there been any evidence presented here? I know they mentioned their search warrants, right? And it's not just them searching willy-nilly, but from what you've seen and what you've heard, is there evidence here that makes this?
No, there's no evidence whatsoever. Our understanding is that they obtained the search warrant they obtained that allowed them to search Carlos's vehicle and his family's property through the use of a secret affidavit. As far as we know, that affidavit is sealed and remains sealed. And, our suspicion, our educated suspicion, is that this has something to do with cell phone pings, which everybody knows are unreliable. And, it's their job to come forward and say what evidence they have is. The fact that they went after Carlos so hard and then let him go, and it's obvious that they had the wrong guy. It's obvious that they messed up, and they need to actually say the obvious, though. They need to repair the damage they've caused.
Carlos, when did you realize that your name, your family's name, it spread over the internet really quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, that same night, I noticed, as soon as I did the interview, I went inside. My wife was on the phone, and on TikTok, the news everywhere. It was like that happened. less than an hour, everybody knew what was going on. We were my mom, my dad. My dad's backstory wasn't. They were trying to, I'm just saying, say that was my dad that did it when it was like that was the thing, and they brought his past life back, and like it's I don't know.
And it's not just, it's bad enough if you're accused of something you didn't do and it's a minor crime, burglary or something like that. It pretty much accused you
Kidnapping
of at that point, and still probably maybe the most famous crime going on the planet right now.
Yeah. No, I want to know why.
When you mentioned that night that you weren't necessarily mad at the deputies, that they're doing their job, they were, you want them to find whoever did this, but obviously they had the wrong guy here, right? Does that still how you feel?
Yeah, I'm frustrated that they didn't do a good job at it. They just went with supposedly a tip they had, but they could have done things differently. They could have walked to me and asked, like, hey, where were you there? Where were you? But they didn't. They did force. They used force, and I felt like I was being kidnapped.
And again, we talked about it that night, but this case has gotten a lot of attention, and that's why it went so kind of famous on the internet. But up to that point, you hadn't heard anything about this case?
No.
Didn't know who Nancy Guthrie was?
Nah, all I do is work and be with my kids and my wife. I don't follow the news. It's something for me that I don't like.
So never something you wanted to be thrown in the middle of here?
No, and I'm here.
What's it been like? I know you've had conversations with your kids and your wife and the rest of your family just in the last week. What have you guys talked about?
Well, they're mostly worried about me, like what's gonna happen to me, because like my lawyer said, they haven't apologized publicly, or they haven't said I'm not a person of interest or anything. They just left it like that. So we're still worried. My in-laws are still worried too, like what's gonna happen. And my brother-in-law too said my oldest son doesn't even want to go to school. But we're still trying to get through this.
It's gonna be tough too for your kids just going to school. It's up into their life too. It's not just yours. Has there been any conversation? I don't know if it's for you, Jesse, or not, but has the sheriff's department reached out at all privately? We haven't heard really much publicly, but has there been any contact since then?
No. So we've notified the Pima County Sheriff's Office and the Pima County Attorney that we represent Carlos, but they've taken no steps to contact us to clear the air. We requested the return of his property. The only thing that was seized during the search was Carlos's phone, which has his driver's license as part of the case, and they still haven't returned that, or as part of the phone case. They still haven't returned that. We think we're in the process of making arrangements to have that returned as of Friday, but it's very hard, when we've reached out to them, it seems like it's very disorganized. It's very hard to figure out who's in charge over there. And, my number one concern right now is that in all of this rush to judgment that's happened, that they just don't want to take accountability and admit that they did wrong.
I don't know you don't follow the news, but they had another person detained. It looks like they towed another car. I know they didn't tow your car, but they towed another car on Friday night and this may be for both of you, but when you watch that and they already did it once to you and it looks like it's happening again to somebody else, what does that make you think? What goes through your head when you see that?
I think they're just guessing. It's a guessing game to them. I don't know, they're just playing with people's lives right at this point. If they don't have no evidence against anybody, how are they going to keep on doing this stuff to innocent people?
And just, I don't know, but it kind of worries you as a person, right? If you're doing this to just kind of willy-nilly into anybody, who's next?
It should be a big deal to people, no matter what their political stripe, that the government has this power to come in, cast a cloud of suspicion on somebody, destroy lives, and then retreat and act like it never happened, and give statements like, well, everybody's been cleared to a point. That's not enough. It's meaningless. They don't have evidence. They made a mistake, and they need to come forward and admit it.
Will your life ever be the same?
I don't know. At this point, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know if it will be the same. Like he said, they cast a cloud on me, like big time news and everything. I don't know if it's gonna be the same.
Alfonso, anything in your mind? Anything else I should have asked you, or anything else you want to make sure we hit on? I always hate making you drive all this way and then we talk for 10 minutes and I send you on your way, but I think that was perfect and you said it very well. So,
Nah, I'm good as long
I
as.
think Carlos just wants to be done with
I
this.
didn't realize too that they still haven't gotten the phone back.
No.